That's a good point, Chili. You do need to start the YouTube Live a little earlier. You know what, man? You're really stepping up. You're coming up with all kinds of wonderful new ideas here lately. I'm so proud of you. Chili showed up Monday with a big whiteboard.
I knew you'd say that. That's Corn's idea.
Well, it might have been his idea, but you went and got the whiteboard.
Yeah, because I told him I'd buy it.
And you wrote all over it. You wrote all that stuff on there.
Good job, Chewy.
That's big right there, man. When you show up to work with a whiteboard, that's big.
Yeah, you're serious.
I mean, you are serious.
That's right.
Now, I'm still understanding why it's not mounted on the wall yet. Because
Well, the plan was we was going to mount it and the other thing that Chris Jolly made us today, but somebody changed the time of the podcast to the mountain time.
hey, man, are you gonna be all right?
You mount things early of the morning.
you Cornbread does not have a good radio voice today.
Well, we's gonna mount it up later today.
This is like when Ron came out with me.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you, Cornbread?
Chattooga County.
Oh, my gosh, it is.
Chattooga County will kill you, son.
You ain't drinking that water up there, are you?
Oh, you got to take a
That
pull
water
off
is
some
bad.
water.
You can't
real.
drink that water up there, man. That's why like 3/4 of the people in that county are
Got cancer.
cancered up and mental disabilities, and it's the water.
Well,
I have proven that water ain't good to be drinking.
well, now y'all tell me.
Well, Corn,
Yeah, you can't drink that
we
water.
had that talk the other day when we had that Floyd County municipal water.
Yeah. And then
We talked about it.
Remember me and you talking about the water thing at Walmart?
Yeah.
And I went over there the other day to try to figure that out and just got frustrated. Because couldn't none of those folks over yonder at the Walmart up there like even fathom what I was talking about. I
Got
said,
frustrated. You
A water
was-
machine?
well, because you could fill it up there too, and you pay to fill it up. And I asked this one creature that worked there, so how does this work when I come and fill it up? And they was like, well, I don't know where the thing to fill it up is.
Hold on, were you at the Walmart and try on?
I was.
Okay, look, Corn. Let me tell you right now.
I can show you, bub.
You have got to stop shopping at the Walmart and try on, okay? Because that is not going to be good for the trajectory of your life.
Well, I agree.
When you go into this Walmart, they could make that a like a place where people go into like as a theme or an amusement park,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They could have like a lane cut out around that Walmart where the normal people come and get to walk around and view the people of Chattooga County in the Walmart doing in their natural habitat, right?
Maybe that'd be a good YouTube video.
We're planning it.
Yeah.
We're planning it.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable place. You got to quit going in there, Corn, because that all that stuff's gonna slough off on you.
That's right. That's a good place to get water. Do they not have a machine there?
Well, the one I talked to allowed he didn't know where it was at.
He.
I couldn't tell what it was.
Oh, okay.
Look, man, go to
But they had all the empty jugs and the machine there.
go to the well.
Oh.
Just get you some jugs.
Yeah,
and go
that's
to the
what I'm
well.
confused about. There's a place where you can get really good drinking water for free on your way home.
Might have to do that.
I've been drinking that for years.
I've been drinking it for years too.
I mean, I've been drinking it for a decade.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, back when I was policing, I used to drink that water. Pull in there, get me a lap of it, fill my bottle up.
It's good water. It is. We're actually about to. I've talked to multiple people up there who have tested that.
Oh yeah,
And Brooke's about to do a test on that water too, just for own personal usage, right?
Right.
Water, the quality of the water that you drink, it has to be important. Because, I mean, how much of your body is water? Like 70% or something crazy, some high number. And we drink a lot of water.
Well, how much of my body is water is 0%. My body is this shell that contains a lot of water, but I'm no percentage water.
That is true. You are you are 100% spirit.
Anyway.
Yeah, so the quality of water that you drink has got to be important because it's essentially, I guess, I can just guess that it's permeating like all parts of your body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We even have went as far as to stop storing our water in the plastic jugs. Because how long have we been drinking and using drinking from and using plastic containers? It hadn't been that long, right? I wonder when that came about.
Hunter, Google that.
What would you say? Like the 50s, 60s? Did they have plastic water bottles? Or wasn't everything in glass?
I remember when I was a kid in the early 80s, all the sodas and whatnot was still in glass.
Yeah, in glass containers.
Right.
And this plastic, it literally is, it degrades or whatever over time. What? 1947?
Yeah. Record on the audio.
Okay. That was the first plastic, but it probably wasn't widespread until
Yeah, it probably took it a while to
40
take
years
off.
after that.
Right.
But it is like, I don't know to what level it's leaching into the liquid that's contained in the bottle, but it is. I'll tell you how I know that plastic is like breaking down is because I was at my father-in-law's house a couple of years ago, and he said, go down there and get that saran wrap out of the garage. And he's a real tightwad. My father-in-law is. And
A real one.
I'm talking about, so he's one of those Costco shoppers too. So, when he buys a roll of saran wrap, it's like a roll of 4 miles worth of saran wrap. You could stretch it across the county,
Look, he'll burn $10 worth of gas to save $5.
Yeah. So I go down there and get this roll of saran wrap. That's the Costco special. And he's had this roll of saran wrap. He ended up telling me like almost 10 years he's been pulling off this roll of saran wrap. Well, I brought it up there to the kitchen, and it was breaking down and turning back into like liquid oil.
Yeah. Crude oil.
Wow.
Liquid oil.
It really was. It was breaking down, turning back into oil.
Wow.
It sure was. So I'm weird about that, man. Like, like you go to the gas station, and the gas station heads a lot of times will have all these cases of water in the summertime stacked up out in front of their darn gas station outside, and the sun's hitting them. Yeah. And it's like they sit out there for weeks and weeks and weeks in the hot Georgia sun. I ain't drinking out of that, man.
Well, you store it in metal now, but you pour it in a plastic bottle.
Yeah, but we don't. I'm pouring it in that plastic bottle, and then I'm almost immediately drinking it within an hour or two. You know what I mean? Obviously, metal bottle is better. Metal storage container is better.
Yeah.
Getting away from plastic, metal, or glass. Glass is obviously impractical unless they have some unbreakable proof glass that you can make a bottle out of,
Yeah.
But we bought glass jugs to store our water in that we get from the spring, and they are so heavy you couldn't use them.
Ain't no handle on them either.
Well, you broke them.
Well, yeah, one of them broke. Yeah, they're just so heavy you can't wield them.
Well, don't they say that the average person consumes a credit card worth of plastic through water like that and heating up food and whatever else a month or a week even? Like it's some ridiculous amount that supposedly the average person consumes. I mean, you would think if you sat here and ate a credit card right now, it'd about kill you.
Yeah.
Maybe not one, but every week.
Yeah.
But I guess it don't, because that's supposedly how much we're consuming. But if that is true, then it has to be leaching from plastic bottles and stuff, because nobody just sits there and eats plastic.
Well, the problem will be when it became liquid, because if it's solid, you're just gonna crap it out.
But
if it's
you're
breaking
saying
down,
if it's leaching into the actual liquid,
yeah, because then it's gonna be absorbed throughout your body, right?
But I'm sure even the solid, if you like swallow pieces of plastic, I'm sure
that's
when it
terrible.
hits your stomach acid, it's
breaks
like
it down.
breaking it down to some extent. Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, you know, the whole cancer thing is the numbers on the amount of people that get cancer is astounding. I remember Bean was on the podcast a few months ago and he shared it, and it was something crazy. Like, I don't remember. It was like
1 in 4.
yeah, something like that. 1 in 4
25%.
people or something. I was like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I think there's a lot of things playing into that, but I definitely think the beverages that we're consuming are a huge factor in that. Even the sodas and stuff now, I saw a thing, I don't know if it was true or not, but I saw a thing where this dude had a can of Coke. I saw it on Instagram, and he like dipped the Coke in some sort of chemical that melted the aluminum or dissolved the aluminum and pulled it up, and this Coke
plastic.
was still in a plastic liner.
Yeah.
So even these aluminum bottles and containers that, you know, we're using, they're still all lined with plastic. I mean, plastic's in everything.
Even that coffee cup you drink.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, there's plastics in everything, man. It's insane.
That's why cardboard is the best way to go with your water. Boxed water.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
that's line. That's
No
got
plastic in that.
That's got
that is a
plastic
good point,
in it
though,
too.
because those boxed waters are almost entirely plastic.
If
Yeah.
something
What a
has
scam
water,
that is.
if something has water in it, it has to have some plastic, or it's just going to
That
disintegrate.
boxed water is hilarious.
What a scam that is, dude. And so many people buy that. So many people buy
Think
into
about
that
all
scam.
the little milks in the schoolhouse kids are taking a pull off of every day.
Yeah, little
It's
lunch
everywhere,
milks.
man.
Yeah,
Little
those
milks.
cardboard lunch milk.
It's literally everywhere. So the water that we drink is never older than about 4 days old. Well, because that's about how much I can store. I can store about 4 days worth of water. So the water that we drink is coming straight out of the ground into a stainless steel container. And that's how we store it.
It's flowing through that PVC pipe, though.
It is flowing through a short length of PVC pipe.
Leaching right into it.
You're going to have to go somewhere else where you
Yeah.
just dip it out.
Record on the thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did that come from?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Good job,
him saying
Corn.
it,
If you think
you know?
it, say it.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into the episode and I tell you guys about my latest injury/sickness, I want to let you know this episode is brought to you by our longtime partner, HOIST, IV Level Hydration. You guys know, man, we've been using HOIST for a long time, and we've been using it in some really, at least me anyways, I've used it in some really, really difficult situations, all right? I used HOIST as my only hydration supplement while I ran the Cocodona 250. What an adventure that was. Drank it, you know, for about 4 days. It never got old, sat well on my
He
stomach.
drank it.
And never cramped up, never got dehydrated. It's tried and true, man. It hydrates you better than water. It tastes good. It's got everything that you need in it to keep you going further. And hydration is probably your most important thing that you can do if you're out there getting after it. So I promise you won't be disappointed. Made in the USA, no preservatives, awesome people with an awesome product. Check them out at drinkhoist.com. Order you a couple cases, have them around the house. And when you get thirsty and you take you a pull off of this, I can go ahead and tell you right now, it's going to hit the spot. And one of the best things to do, and I see a lot of you guys on Instagram doing it, is if you like coffee, HOIST goes very well with coffee. And so you take a sip of coffee. Now, the key to this is when you sip the coffee, you've got to let it kind of permeate your palate. All right, and then, so don't immediately take the hoist. Sip the coffee, let it permeate your palate, then chase it down with a sip of hoist. Coffee's dehydrating you but energizing you. Hoist is rehydrating you, and you remain in a state of homeostasis. So, coffee and hoist. DrinkHoist.com. Thank you guys for making today's show possible. Corn, I'm going to kick it over to you for the Patreon question. We're going to lead off with our Patreon question today.
That threw Chili off.
It really did.
Dropped his phone.
I knew it was going to mess him up right off the
Jolted him.
rip.
Did you hit record?
I think so. This, I'm going to try to read this. This is from Brady.
I'll read it.
Well, read it, Bob.
No, Corn, you read it.
You're
It's
good.
your
You're
job.
good. You're good.
Listen, everybody calm down. What are the 3 of 7's thoughts on starting an in-person community similar to the early church described in Acts 2:44 through 47? I'm not studied up on Acts myself, but I'll read it if y'all want me to.
No, I know what he's talking about.
Okay.
It was essentially that it's essentially the idea of this like a commune type of environment where everybody puts, you could see it as a commune or as a socialist type of community where everybody puts all their money in a pot and everything's distributed, to however it needs to be distributed, right? That's what he's talking about. So I'll be glad when we get to the book of Acts because we can get more in-depth on that during our Monday meeting. But in my mind, or at least my perspective on it, is when the early church formed that community as it's described in the book of Acts, they formed that out of necessity. They were living in a place where they were being heavily persecuted, they were being killed, they were being hunted, all for their faith. And so they actually, out of necessity, had to come together to support each other for the furtherance of the body of Christ or the church in that specific time. And I think it was something that, was out of necessity and actually worked for that specific period. And I could see in the future, if we're here during the what's known as the Great Tribulation, and maybe if we're not raptured and we one day experience, or even not even during that, but if one day we as the church experience another period of extreme persecution against us for our faith in Christ, I could see then again it being a good idea for the body of Christ to band together and to take care of each other on that level, right? But does it work if you just decide, oh no, this sounds good to start a commune where everything's all, no man, communes don't work unless they're born out of an absolute necessity to survive, right? For the sake of survival. Because if you start a commune for any other reason, when people are trying to survive, guess what they're focused on? Survival. But if you start a commune for any other reason other than the sake of survival, guess what people are focused on? Themselves. A bunch of other crap that causes problems.
Well, the thing is with that too, if you kind of picture that, it's all focused inward, right? Say we start this thing and we say, all right, we're going to pool our money, we're going to take care of each other, we're going to farm, share our crops, all this stuff. Then you forget about everybody else outside of that, right? We're just worried about ourselves. And so, and that's not the message of the gospel. That's not what Jesus taught. And so I think I've not studied that specific place in Acts, but that makes sense if that's why that happened. But yeah, I don't think you would just go start that out of nowhere, but I would have to study it to say. But
Right.
I do know that when you turn like that, I can picture that being an inward focus and not an outward focus.
Another thing that was unique about the that specific, account in Acts and how the church operated is they also had a leader who was appointed by Christ to be their leader, and his name was Peter, right? So that's another good thing they had going for him. Not that Peter was perfect. Peter was a man, but Peter was obviously a disciple of Christ and an apostle, and he was appointed by Christ to take care of the early church. And so they had Peter's leadership to kind of help navigate that for the sake of the survival of the church during that time period. But it ain't gonna work if you just decide you wanna do it just because you think it sounds good. Socialism sounds good, doesn't work. It does not work because of man's condition, the condition of his heart. Socialism would work great if we were all sinless beings. It don't work though because of the condition of man's heart.
Yeah.
It's not possible. That's my opinion on it. What do you think about it, Chili? You went to a Christian school. You're very well studied, intellectual type. What do you think about it, man? Do you think it was for the survival of the church during that specific time period?
Well, I don't know. Like, I guess you're referencing that because that was referenced in the question. I need to hear the question again. I mean, he basically said,
what do you think about starting a commune like
that
was represented in Acts?
Yeah. Just my initial reaction is to say that I wouldn't say that the early church operated in a socialist aspect like we think of it. I can't say for sure exactly what it looked like, to the finest details, but when we think of socialism and what that looks like, we're thinking of, countries that have tried it, and socialist nations, like huge nations that their government is run in that manner. And this was just, this was a community. It wasn't a nation state. You know what I mean? Like, basically every community, if you want to look at it that way, could operate in socialist ways. Like, even like I'm not very, I'm not sympathetic to socialism when it comes to
a governmental
system, but I'm pretty dang socialist when it comes to my family and my close friends. Like, I would, I don't think that's bad, to live in a community with your family like that. Socialism is a problem the further out it's expanded. So I think just a small group like that, it's debatable if you would even call what they were doing socialism or socialistic. Like, they were just living in a community and helping each other, and it wasn't tied to any government structure or like a power structure. So my point is like, yeah, I don't think that's bad to live in a
community.
Yeah, right.
Where you support each other. Yeah. You do bring up an interesting point, though, Chili, because obviously we'll get to Acts in our Monday meetings and we'll go in depth on this, but just from reading it in the past, you bring up an interesting point because I don't think that it was being mandated for everyone to give up their wealth in order to support the community. I think,
as far as I know.
Yeah, as far as I understand, everyone, like who were the two people who who said they sold their land and gave the money to the apostles, and
Oh yeah.
and they didn't really give them all the money.
I don't know.
I forget what their names were. That's in that same community. But people, I think these people were giving resources in support of the church out of their own free will to do so. It wasn't being mandated.
Yeah,
right?
that's a
Like a
big
tithe
difference.
is today. I mean, right?
So you bring up a good point.
Yeah, I wouldn't equate the two exactly. Like in our modern sense of the word and applying it to government structures, like it wasn't really like that. I mean, it was, I mean, the way my understanding of how it was, it's great. I mean, I think that there should be a lot more of that.
I worked with a guy for years. His name was Tom, and his family, he had 2 or 3 brothers that were married, his mom and dad.
They kind of did this
and
with their family.
They all lived in the same house. They all put their money into the same account.
Yeah.
They all shared the cars, and how I found that out is he'd drive 2 or 3 different vehicles, and he'd come down to work on the track hoe one day and pulled a hydraulic hose out the back of a Cadillac Eldorado. And I said, "Dang, man, you driving your mama's car today?" And he's like, "No, we all put our money together. We all share everything together." And the interesting thing about Tom is 2 or 3 times I'd heard people say, "Hey, man, can I borrow $20 to get me some lunch or something like that?" And he would tell them, "I can't loan our money." He said, "But I'll buy you lunch." And he'd go buy them lunch and give it to them, but he would tell them straight up, "I can't loan our money." Every single time, it was our money.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little odd. I mean, like, I wouldn't want to do that, but my vision of what I mean by, like, the way I am with my family is, like, I think that'd be great to own a piece of land and there was multiple houses on it and all of your extended family, and you operate as a family, not like, I don't even think it's got to all be combined money, like separate. But I mean, that's great, and that's the way that the church could operate.
Yeah, I think at the family level it is great.
Yeah,
I think at the family level it is. It's I think where it goes sideways is when you have this idea to create this commune
utopia. Yeah, I don't agree with that.
It's like you're on the edge of a
It's
cult.
a cult.
Yeah, it's a cult.
Yeah,
is what it will eventually turn into, right? Even I think that a lot of maybe some of these cults started off with good intentions. So I think doing it on the family level, is great. Now doing
That's
it to
what
the
I'm
level
promoting.
that Tom was doing it, I don't know that would work.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that it would work for me, because if you did that, you would have to trust that everyone was going to do their equal share of work. Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm not big on that.
Ain't gonna happen. Somebody's gonna be freaking pissed. Well, actually, everybody who can find some way to just pizzle along while the 2 or 3 that are actually working hard are bringing all the money in. That's what's going to happen. It's just going to cause problems, man.
Ananias and Sapphira.
Ananias and Sapphira. Yep. They sold a piece of land, said, "Hey, guys, we wanted to make this offering." And this is every last dime we got from selling that land. Woo.
Yeah, no,
Turned
that's
out
what,
rough
that's
for
what I
him.
was sitting there thinking the whole time. It's a cult. I mean, and how it really turns into a cult is when, there's somebody will emerge as the leader of that.
Yeah.
Like it has to. I mean, even in that family situation, somebody was it may have been him. Somebody was pretty much calling the shots,
Grand Poobah.
Yeah, somebody spent a little too much money one time on a TV. Someone spent too much of our money on a TV one time, and somebody held them accountable for that. You know what I'm saying?
You'll not loan our money to that.
So like when that is inevitable, that's a problem. And I'm only sounding sympathetic to this idea, in as far as with the church, in the sense of it not being to that level.
Yeah.
Like we don't live in communities at all anymore. I mean, there is no,
Right.
like, there isn't any level of community. I'm promoting more level of community, being the church, helping people, you know, willingly, not forced. But, yeah, it's real easy to get too far on that. And
Yeah.
I think most of the questions like that, there may be an idea to push that a little too far. Like, you got to be careful with that.
I think to me, I said it earlier, but one of the defining things that differentiates the two is where if you're focused inward or outward, because the church is not a cult because they're not looking at themselves and trying to exclude everybody from being a part of it. They're saying, come on, if you want to come on in, come on in. Because if it was the other way around, then people could say, this Christianity, that is nothing but a big cult. Like, they don't, you know, they've got all these secrets. They're not letting nobody in. They're not telling folks what they're doing. And I think that's a big part of a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah. So be careful with it, guy. You decide to start a commune. Well, that's been tried many times. There's a good documentary on Waco.
The Branch Davidians.
But
Go
that
watch
sounds like that was kind of the forming of what is the church today in a sense.
It was.
It was
Yeah.
a very small,
Yeah.
but they had to be on defense,
Yeah.
right? So that maybe made it seem
was.
differently, but it sounds like essentially what the church is at large today.
Yeah, I mean, you would you operate a whole lot different under persecution than
Yeah.
you know, just true freedom. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
not many people that have experienced religious persecution
Yeah.
in the U.S. I mean,
Not to the level that's in, we consider
Basically
persecution
none.
is where
Like-
someone says, don't you be preaching out here on the corner.
yeah, I mean,
If you read the book, what's the book Thomas Paine wrote? The little small
Common
book,
Sense? Yeah.
Common Sense by Thomas Paine. He lays out how a society or a government begins, and he goes through the steps of like when people like first come together, they're only focused on their survival, and they band together for the sake of their mutual survival. But then, as time passes, they establish themselves and establish security for themselves, and then they're no longer banded together for the pure sake of mutual survival, and then that's when problems begin.
Well, that shows that human beings are always selfish. You band together because it's best for you,
Yeah.
and then you go live on your own when you have your own security because it's best for you. You're always doing what's best for you, not what's best for the community, or although it can appear that you are, you're really not, at least in that case.
Yeah, I mean, the prime examples that we have in terms of New Testament ministry and how we should be actually operating as the church is, we just talked about it on Monday meeting the other day. Jesus, he moved. He moved everywhere. The disciples, they moved everywhere.
didn't
You look
have
at
a
the
home.
Apostle Paul, he moved everywhere. They were going around, right? I think that's a way better way to operate than wanting to form a commune. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good question, man. Good
Yeah.
conversation. We appreciate you bringing it up. We love our Patreon members. They are the lifeblood of the podcast. If you want to join us over on Patreon, we'd love to have you. We do Resurrected 3 Sundays a month. Talk about, putting out some behind-the-scenes content there. We do a lot of fun stuff. So join us if you feel led to on Patreon.
And people ask all the time, I can't find y'all on Patreon. Where is that at? And so if you're technically handicapped, go to the website and click the link or the tab
the
that says
Patreon tab.
Patreon. It'll bring you
There's
right to
literally
it.
a link in the description of every single podcast.
Some people are really
a
handicapped.
hyperlinked, clickable link. So,
The one that allows Patreon.
outstanding. Well,
What's going on with your hand?
so my
Is this the
latest
injury?
ailment, this thing.
What? Oh, you just got an ingrown nail, like a hang nail right there. Ain't no big deal.
No, look at that, dude.
Yeah, I get that.
what's the problem?
It's
My
swollen.
finger is rotting off. Look at the difference. Look at that. It's
Someone
twice.
take a photo of that.
It's hard not to be offended when he's getting you to look at
It's
his.
twice the size.
Yeah, it's swollen.
And
I've
look at that
gotten that.
white pus right there.
Yeah, I've gotten that before. It's no big deal to go away. It's a hangnail,
sore.
bub.
It's
Remember
a
when?
goose.
Yeah.
Remember when your toe got infected?
Yeah, that was bad.
What'd you do to
It
it?
about rotted off.
Look at this corn.
Yeah, bust that thing with a needle, bub.
That's what Dad was trying to. You need
No.
to poke that thing and drain
No,
it. Yeah, that's
I'd
a
bust it.
surefire way for it to get infected.
Yeah, don't
No,
do that.
pour some of that dang magic water you get out the well on it. Do that.
Yeah, I've had that. I used to get that quite often.
I mean,
On
this
that
is
nub you got.
No, I never got it on that one. They cleaned that one up good.
this is painful.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point I can't even hardly wipe my butt.
Bust it.
How long's it
That's
been
your
like
main. That's your main butt wiping finger right there
It is.
You digging up in there.
on
ain't
your
you?
right hand.
That's probably how it got infected. You digging up in there and ripped through the dang
What is the
terry
problem?
cloth.
There's a name for this. I looked it up last night. Starts with a P. It's an infected
Phalange.
fingernail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Squirrel guts.
You know.
Squirrel guts under there.
Well,
Yeah, no big
I
deal,
was
man.
thinking about that. I wear gloves when I clean squirrels, and I usually poke myself in this hand because my knife is in this hand. So I ruled that out. It's not the squirrels.
Probably when you ate them.
It
Into
could
your
be.
fingernail.
Well, it's
Well, he
just,
ain't ate no squirrel.
As he talks about it more and more, he's holding it like more and more.
He's gonna
By
need
the
a
end of the
sling,
day, he's
isn't
gonna
he?
be Napoleon, and you like it's right here.
He's going to need a sling.
well, it's just another reminder that this old body is just it's liable to give up.
Well, you're
on me.
overinflated.
Look, man, you have an infected fingernail.
I'm just saying.
and you're talking about this
It's
body
just
is
another
dying. And
reminder.
here I am on my way out.
Another reminder I'm
this
gonna
old
die.
body just ain't gonna stand the test of time, right? We've got now look, y'all two are still young, so y'all haven't experienced this.
No, I had dry skin the other night, and I said, this is just a reminder that I'm dying.
Cornbread's sitting over here with a daggone wallered out shoulder. What's up with that, CB?
Yeah, it's they allow it swallowed out anyhow.
Look, he don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
This old body just ain't gonna last us, is it?
No, it ain't. Not when you use it. When you get busy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you get busy, you get hurt, you get wallered out, you get sick. If you don't do nothing, if you don't hit a lick at nothing, you stay fresh.
Like me and Blake.
Yeah.
You
You
stay
gotta
got-
stay crisp.
All we have is moderate to severe plaque psoriasis.
Dang.
Oh man,
We're kind of like Cooney. We're more thinkers than we are.
Yeah.
have y'all noticed how obsessed our culture has become with feeling good?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
How obsessed our culture has become with like doing all of this weird crap so that you can feel good
Yeah.
and hopefully make your body last longer. I mean,
Really weird stuff.
I'm talking about weird crap.
Putting a rock in your mouth and just holding a rock in your mouth.
Just, I mean, you see people doing the strangest stuff
Yeah.
because it's crazy how our culture, I think for some reason we've gotten into this mindset that you're supposed to feel good all the time. Like that's what life is supposed to be. You're supposed to feel good all the time. And so that's not the reality of life. And so I think half the people running around here are confused. And they're thinking, well, life is supposed to be great and fun and I'm supposed to feel good. But about 3/4 of the time, I don't feel good. I'm sick. I'm
Fingernails
anxious.
hurting.
I'm not happy with my work. I'm not.
Well,
Things
you're
are
also not
hard.
supposed to feel bad all the time either.
No,
I mean,
not.
something's wrong if you feel bad all the time.
Yeah. But
when you become on this desperate pursuit of trying to make yourself feel good, that's what your life becomes, is the pursuit of that, and you're not actually feeling good or bad. You're just living for this one thing to try to feel good all the time.
Yeah. I made mention on Resurrected the other night. It would be interesting for the people who are so obsessed with longevity, making their body last longer, feeling better, all this. It would be interesting to calculate all of the time that they have spent doing things to hopefully make them feel good and make their body last longer versus the extra time that they actually add onto their life at the end. Like, I would say...
Well, it's a quality thing, too.
I would say you spend more time with these little knick-knack things. I'm talking about beyond just eating a good diet, moving your body, and doing the necessary things to take care of your vessel. I would say there are many people who spend more time trying to live longer than they actually live longer. And so they're actually missing out on a large percentage of living by trying to do things to make themselves live longer. Does that make sense?
And then you have the people that aren't interested in trying but want to take the shortcuts to look like they're younger, but actually detract years from their life by all these injections and these surgeries they can get to reduce fat and puff their lips up and fill their cheeks. And
yeah, I've been considering this a lot here lately. I would say maybe like in current culture, the number one like demonic force that is controlling the mind of man in America is this worship of the physical, worship of self, right? I saw a thing the other day where this guy had brought a mirror for the first time to this tribe in Papua New Guinea. And it was the first time these people had ever seen a reflection of themselves other than like in water or something like that. And it was freaking them out, dude. It was like wrecking them, man.
How old was that video?
It was old. Like it was in color, but it was probably, early 80s, something like that. But these dudes were like, they thought this mirror was like some sort of magical device. They were holding a leaf over it. And he would like pull the leaf up and then put it back. It was really cool, man. But it made me think, how would we think differently of ourselves if we were not constantly seeing a reflection of our flesh in all the, like everywhere you go, there's a mirror. And we're constantly checking to see what our image, what our fleshly image is. We're constantly paying attention to it, constantly fixing something. How does this hat look on me? And so I think by constantly seeing this reflection of ourselves, we begin to think that this flesh, this body, is who we are. And I think it really screws with our perception of who and what we really are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think this especially applies to, I think of my good friend David. Like, his body is broken, but his body is not who he is, and he knows that. But if you were in a place where your only perception of what you were was this fleshly body that you're living in and the thoughts that you have, and something happens, or when something happens, oh man, it just wrecks you, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this is essentially this message that I taught on Resurrected the other night about really clearly defining what you are is a very powerful message that needs to be heard by people, especially here in America. You are not your flesh, and you are not your thoughts or your instincts or your intellect. You are a spirit, an eternal spirit. All right? And, you know, you might want to take some time to think about that, to study that out in Scripture, like we did on Resurrected, but even going deeper into, okay, what does this mean? I am spirit. Well, how does that apply to how I think about myself and to how I act, especially towards God? Am I worshiping God with my intellect? No. God says He's calling those who will worship Him in spirit and in truth. And so it just changes a lot, man. Especially, you know, you get a wallered out shoulder. You get a blood clot. You get paralyzed. You get cancer. Your body's not who you are, man.
Right.
You're a spirit. This body's going to wear out. But because we're constantly looking at ourselves, we're constantly thinking about oh man, what does Jesus say? We just read it the other day in Matthew chapter 6. What does He say? Don't worry about what you're going to put on, what you're going to wear. What do? We constantly think about what we're going to wear. We wake up in the morning, we put clothes on, and we look in the mirror to see how does this look on me, right? You want to know the number one thing that Jesus says, or that He calls out in His ministry? Anxiety. The number one thing above, the thing that He repeats the most is fear not. Fear not. That's what He repeats the most. It's almost like He repeated it so many times, if you'll pay attention, especially to His disciples, almost every time He greets them, He says, fear not. It's almost like it became, instead of saying, hello, what's going on, guys? He tells them to fear not, right? This life that we're living is not a constant state of feeling good. Okay? Like Chili said, you're not supposed to feel bad all the time. But stop having the expectation that you should feel good all the time. That you should be thinking good thoughts all the time. That you should be happy with your work all the time. That your physical health is just going to be good it's not that. And let go of that.
The problem is when you let your situation and circumstance dictate your, I guess, joy, you would call it, not happiness. But when you go through life and these things like, oh, well, it's hard not to be joyful, or it's hard to be joyful when you're sick. But really you should be, because joy is bigger than your circumstances. And I think it's worthwhile talking about just culture in general, because we grow up in this place that's called America, and we think, believe it or not, I think people subconsciously determine truth based on how they are raised and the people around them. And they say, yeah, I'm a Christian, I read the Bible, but when the Bible rubs up against what they have been raised believing, they try to say, well, how this is the truth, because this is what I was raised in. So, and the Bible's saying this, how do I fit that into culture, rather than just saying, well, let me reassess, because people that are in Africa are different, people that are in Europe are different, New Zealand, Australia, all these different places, they also have a different culture, and they're going to define that differently and as far as what they think truth is based off of their culture. So now it's like normal, and maybe not truth, but it's normal to go get like lip injection. You know, like to see a woman with big old puffed up lips, and you like, that does not look proportionate to your face. And it's like, well, everybody's doing it, so that must be okay. And we start to accept things as truth based off of how the culture is, rather than, I mean, you got to get to this point in your life where you say, well, hold on, let me wipe off all this stuff that I think is true and actually go to whatever if for us it's Jesus, but go to the Bible and say, no, this is truth, even if it's radically different from what I've been taught and raised in my entire life. This is actually the truth, and I must change the way that I'm living, the way that I'm thinking, the way that I'm acting. And I think that's how we get to these places that we're in. And, you know, we look at these old ancient cultures, and, you know, they've got them big old lip plates, them tribes, or that got that big old ring on your neck, and they think, that just looks hideous, you know, like that is ridiculous. But I could imagine in 500 years someone looking back and saying, look at these people in America, what they're doing. Like, look at this stuff.
Yeah, distorting our bodies.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, it could even go to the way we dress or the makeup that you wear, or how you're trying to sculpt your body to this extreme physique, you know. So
or even, I think tattoos even play into this.
Yeah.
I mentioned it on Resurrected the other night. Why do we tattoo our body? Well, it's because we have this view that our body is who we are. And so we want to tattoo it. We want to change it. We want to sculpt the body and mark the body up into representing who we are, because our image of who we are is so closely tied to our body. And we've lost sight of the fact that the body is simply a vessel that was created uniquely by God to house the spirit that you are, right? It is, and I just think it's such an important message, man. Mm-hmm. So we've established that life is not a state of homeostasis or a state of feeling good. That your thoughts are going to get out of whack, right? You're going to have anxiety. I have anxiety. Do you think every single time that I get up and speak publicly, there is some level of anxiety, right? Every single time. We all deal with it, right? So life is this series of definitely highs and lows. So how do we flatten that curve? I've been thinking about that. How do we flatten that curve? It's never going to be this homeostasis of feeling good. But for me, the most recent example is, you guys know, I go through a lot of high highs and low lows, especially with our work stuff. You know, there are times that I'm really excited about coming in and doing a podcast or filming a YouTube video or going to do a speaking engagement. And then there's times where I absolutely do not want to do it at all. Like, I'm just not excited about it at all, right? Now, the key there is we keep showing up anyways. You know, we've shown up now every week for years, so we keep showing up anyways. But usually, my highs and lows are way higher and way lower. Like the two are way further apart when I take my eyes off of Jesus Christ. Yeah. When I take my eyes off of the Lord, and I'm focused on money. I'm focused on my physical well-being. I'm focused on what is my internal dialogue, my feelings, my intellect, my thoughts. That usually increases those highs and lows, like, significantly. And when I take my eyes off of the Almighty, those highs and lows they're a much tighter wavelength too. They'll come almost in like week spans, right? Or even daily. It's a high and low even daily. And man, the for me personally, that happens to me quite often, and that wavelength gets real tight and it gets real tall up and down, and I get frustrated, and I don't even realize why this is my reality right now. Like, it just happens, right? It's like it sneaks up on me. When every single time, if I would take the time to analyze what's happening, it's because I've been lax on my prayer life. It's because I haven't been really focused on the ministry aspect of what we are called to do. It's because I haven't been outward focused on loving others. It's because I haven't been in Scripture. It's all of these things, and so every time this happens and I have this realization, I attribute it. The Holy Spirit reveals it to me. He lets me live in that high and low for a while, and then He reveals it to me. Well, this is your issue, right? It's my issue every time. So, how do we experience what the Bible describes as peace that surpasses all understanding? Or how do we receive this peace that we can receive from our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? It's by focusing our eyes, our attention, our identity all on Him and who we are as spirit, and as spirit who has been made alive in Him. If we focus on that, it flattens this curve so much even to the point where if you are physically sick, it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah.
If you have some screwed up thoughts, it's not as big of a deal. It's still going to happen. It's still not necessarily going to feel good or be fun. But who you are in Christ is it's the foundation. It's the foundation. And when you have that foundation and you're focused on that foundation, that when you start to drop off in that low, man, it hits that foundation and you'll only go so low, right? Because that's like this bedrock. And yeah, man, I'm applying that right now because I've had some pretty frequent high-low wavelengths over the last month or so, and I just realized it's because I'm taking my eyes off of Christ and I'm focused on all of these worldly things and my flesh and my thoughts and growth and all this. Just like, no, man, it's like that's what's messing me up, just like every other dang time.
The way that this plays out in my life personally is that I will get really excited about things and want things and look forward to them, and then I'll also get really down about things. But when I do, if I'm really excited about something, I know that that's going to happen, and I will try to always put that into perspective of who God is and what He's called me to be. And then all of a sudden that thing is no longer very exciting when I think, well, literally the creator of the universe created me and I have a relationship with Him and He has called me to be on this mission and do this thing with these people. Then all of a sudden, getting a new house ain't that exciting. Getting a new car ain't that exciting.
Yeah, you're right.
Squirrel hunting, it's like it's still fun.
Right.
I still enjoy it, but like then I put it into perspective and it's like, okay, well, I don't have to give this my all because it's really not that big of a deal. It is fun, but it's not that big of a deal. Likewise, when things go down, that's the harder part for me. Like when I get sick, it's hard for me not to focus on that and when things are going wrong. But I still try to do the same thing and say, God has called me to be on this mission. He's called me to work at this place. He's called me to do these things and has created me, and I have a relationship with Him. So He's still King. It's not that bad. And so that, for me personally in my life, flattens that curve because you start to get on that high and you put it into perspective and it brings you back down. And you start to get in that low, you put it into perspective and you come back up. And we see in the Bible just a couple verses that I do know is one is this book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night. So that's all the time, right? Meditate on it, mutter back, think about these things, pray without ceasing. Those things that people think, how is that possible? Well, that's just what I just told you. I think those are ways that we can pray without ceasing and meditate on it day and night, because that's what we're thinking. We're looking at everything that happens in our life through the lens of Jesus and what he's called us to do and who we are in him, and it puts everything into perspective. So that's not an all-inclusive explanation of what those verses mean, but I think it is one way that can be carried out.
No, it's so good, Blake. It's so good. Like, even with me, with my squirrel hunting here lately, like, the reason I've become so obsessed with it is I haven't put it into perspective with exactly what you just talked about. Well, look, this is something that the Lord has given me the opportunity to do, and it's okay for me to enjoy it. But really, it would be so much better if I would be looking at this passion that the Lord has put in my heart and given me to think about how can I make this in some way, shape, or form something to glorify him and to add to his people and to add to this ministry that we've been given. But I don't. But here recently, it's all been about me, and I get obsessed with it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's that high, and you don't want to go there, man. You don't want to go there.
Is that real?
What's that?
Like, when you're describing this, is it's all about me, and you struggling with this, like this squirrel hunting, for example. Like, is that legitimately what's happening? Like, that's becoming a problem? Because I always viewed this type of stuff as like a joke. Not that you're not really into it, because you are. I mean, you bought a dang squirrel dog and you hunt all the time. But, like, I always view it as like, well, it's just.
Oh, no, it's
like,
for real.
No. I mean, like, understand me. Like, I'm not saying you're not actually into it. I don't mean that. Or you weren't into riding your bike or into running at times. I don't mean that. But I mean, like, when you play it up like a joke sometimes, like, what I'm talking about when you come in here and mess with us. I mean, I almost view it like that. Like, well, he's not actually, it's not becoming a problem. You're saying it is.
It is literally all I think about.
So it is a problem.
It is a huge problem. It's literally like I can be.
I mean, you know what I'm saying.
I can be somewhere and like I can't even have a conversation with my wife because I'm thinking about what just happened on the squirrel hunt, or what's going to happen, or when I need to get in the woods, or when the squirrels are going to be moving, or where I'm going to hunt tomorrow morning. Yeah, it's a problem, man.
It seems
I have to be constantly on guard about it. It's just some way that my mind ticks.
Well, it seems like a joke because it is a little ridiculous, but
well, and he does joke about it.
Yeah, and he does say it in a joking manner.
But yeah.
He's actually serious.
Well, I mean, I didn't know that it was that much of a problem to you. Like right now, squirrel hunting's a big problem. It's all you think about.
It's a big problem, and it gives me such a high. It also, when I'm not doing it, I'm
gives
at
you a high.
Oh yeah, dude. So when I'm out, like you can't understand this. When I'm out there with that dog, dude, like literally, I am hyper focused. I'm not thinking about anything else, and that's part of the reason I love it so much. When I'm squirrel hunting, I do not check my phone. I don't care how much money I have in the bank. I don't care what time it is. I don't care about anything but that. And it really allows your mind. It's like a release for my mind, right? So that's a good thing. But because it hasn't been put into perspective in terms in relation to what I've actually been called to do and what my purpose is in Christ, it actually causes these big lows, because now when I'm not doing it and I have to work, I'm resentful toward my work. You know what I mean? It's crazy, dude. I know it's a weird thing about how I operate, man.
Well, it's weird to me.
That's why I have to be on constant guard about this.
It's weird to me because it's squirrel hunting, but I've detailed the way I was about running forever.
Yeah,
so
you could probably relate to it in that
aspect. It's not weird to me in that sense. I mean, it's just weird to me that it bounces around from squirrel hunting to whatever.
Land cruisers. I mean, my mom wants to latch on to something all the time, you know?
Me and Blake had a conversation about your squirrel hunting the other day. And what it is, in my opinion, and I know Blake's the one that says it, so I know he feels the same way. You have to get to where you feel like you are the best. You have mastered the squirrel hunting. And once that stops, you might not ever squirrel hunt again.
Yeah,
And that's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
You sure?
I'm positive.
But
100%.
But if you go through all of the past things, he didn't master Land Cruiser. How do you master Land
I
Cruiser?
literally have one of the nicest Land Cruisers in the country.
Okay, well, he did master that in his head.
Exactly.
Because, how'd you master mountain biking?
Well, I
He
mean,
did the Colorado
did
Trail.
the Colorado Trail. It's
Built.
touted as one of the hardest mountain biking races on.
Did you win it?
Well, that's the thing. You're right. The mastery.
It's in your own head.
The mastery is to the level that I think I want to achieve. Right?
Really, it is. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I buy that theory if it's that caveat.
Yeah.
That it's when you think you've mastered it to some area, some level. Because like even the Land Cruiser, that's very subjective. But in your mind, you have the nicest Land Cruiser in the country.
Yeah.
Well, things come and go in life. All of us have things that come and go, and they're really
I
just
have two of the nicest.
they're really just things that we're trying to fill that space that Christ should be filled with.
100%. Yeah.
And you experience them on this extreme, which anything that is extreme is unsustainable. Anything that we ever do, that we ever experience that is extreme is unsustainable. And that's the thing with Jesus is it's sustainable. It's something that can fill that void that burns long and slow like a diesel fire versus a gasoline fire. It's burning long and slow and it's sustainable. But these other things that we fill it with cars, with hunting, with whatever the thing is for you, it's hard for humans to just enjoy something for the thing that it is unless it's just like a good friendship, a good talk, a sunny day, a good lunch meeting with your buddy or your family. Those are it's Ecclesiastes, right? Yep. Every hevel, like vapor, mist. Everything seems like it's there, and just when you go to grab it, it's gone.
Yeah.
Everything is meaningless, is what he says, except those things, like I just mentioned, that God created us to enjoy and take pleasure in. Those kind of things will feed you sustainably. And if you think about those things that you have, those are the things that you can look back on and say, man, 10 years ago, I really enjoyed that turkey hunt we went on. Like, we had good conversation. We killed some birds. We had some good laughs. We killed them 3 turkeys out there in that clear cut. You shot all my shotgun shells out of my turkey thug. Yeah. We spent good. And those are the things. But when can you think back about something like, you can have some of those good times like squirrel hunting, right? But you're not going to look back at squirrel hunting as a whole and be like, boy, I remember when I was on fire about squirrel. That was the best time of my life. You're going to think, no, that was miserable, man. I neglected everything in my life for that.
Well, when you meet those rare men in your life who seem like they have truly received this peace that surpasses all understanding from Jesus Christ, and usually it's older men. Mm-hmm. When you meet these men on these rare occasions, you realize those are the things that they value.
Yeah.
Like the things that you're talking about, right? Yeah. And those are and I don't value those things. I'm always, like you said, trying to be the best in my mind or achieve this certain level. And I don't care so much about, the hunt that me and Dad did together yesterday. You know what I mean?
You just cared that you were squirrel hunting.
Just cared that I was squirrel hunting. That's right. I've thought about that. I told Brooke yesterday, I was like, that's a big deal, what me and Dad did together yesterday. And I need to learn to value that and to, value that time and his excitement and, that is peace. Mm-hmm. That's how we flatten that curve, right? Yeah. That's what Jesus offers us, right? Not that we're ever going to reach a perfect place of homeostasis. But I think that the last thing I want to hit on this is we've referenced many times how we get so frustrated when we're sick physically, right? but I think it occurs much more often for people when they experience, if you want to call it, sickness mentally, or their mind is just jacked up,
Like
right?
depression or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Right. And, there's a whole conversation around that Brooke would actually be a perfect guest to talk about this stuff, and she has on the podcast before. But I think one piece to that, when you are feeling mentally ill or not the way that you want to feel mentally, is remembering you are not your thoughts. I think that's one piece to that. The same as you are not this fleshly body that you're living in. You as a son or daughter of Christ. You have been made alive. You are a living spirit, and you are not your thoughts. And just acknowledging that, I think, is one huge piece to take power away from those things without actually even fighting against them. Just saying, well, yeah, it sucks that I'm all freaking poopy pants about having to work today because I don't want to be here, and I'm feeling impatient, and I'm feeling selfish, and I'm feeling anxious, and all this other stuff. Well, thank God I am not those thoughts. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
Boy, I can roll with that.
Yeah, and you don't have to make decisions based off of that.
Yeah,
Right.
I can roll with that, son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Well, CB, I have
Jerry Tarkanian over here.
TD Jakes.
I have
dabbing his nose.
many people were requesting that I pay to have your upholstery done in your truck.
No, we ain't gonna do that.
So I ain't gonna pay for it, but if you guys want to send money in
Do not do that.
for Cornbread's upholstery in his truck,
Y'all
Or a
need to
new
worry
seat.
about your own truck.
or if you want to send a new seat in for Corn's
01.
truck,
01.
Don't
Chevy.
do it.
02.
No,
01.
don't do it.
you can send it in. What's the P.O. box, Blake?
454. Rome, Georgia.
454.
30162.
Okay, 30162. Send Cornbread money.
Now, why would you do that?
Make sure you address it to Cornbread, because part of the reason his
Yeah, because if it's not, you'll take it.
that's exactly right. Part of the reason Cornbread's shoulder is so jacked up is on account of that seat.
He's cocked down to the side.
That's exactly
And
right.
his right shoulder's having to be up so high to get on the steering wheel.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Cornbread right now, he needs
Y'all don't send
Left
nothing.
is low.
Cornbread
nothing.
needs donations for a new truck seat and also for a shoulder replacement. Send your money into the P.O. box. Address it to Cornbread. If it's not addressed to Cornbread, I'm going to take it and use it for something. So
Don't do it.
just wanted to put that out there because the people were wanting to know how to give to you.
Or if someone wants to donate an insurance plan, a health insurance plan. If you sell health insurance, you want to donate a plan to him, we can do that too.
I think he just wants cash, man.
Does he?
Yeah.
Gold or cash?
I'll buy a dang turkey hunt with it. I ain't buying no truck seat. Y'all don't send
No,
money.
it goes to you through us.
Nonetheless.
So we'll buy you a truck seat.
If you send money to Cornbread, make sure you address what he is to use it for, okay? And we'll make sure to hold him accountable to that.
Look, he has busted the frame in that seat. Upholstery is not going to do
That's
it.
a work truck, bub. That truck has been worked.
Yeah. The seat's been worked for sure.
Yeah, the seat's been worked.
That's in and out. All them times at work. Hitting it, son.
It's unacceptable, Cornbread.
At least he didn't drive it today.
No, I got to
Jumbo
put
gray.
a power booster on it. It's leaking too much. Me and G went through 3/4 of a bottle of power steering fluid from Somerville to the Narrows to here. 3/4 of
Oh, my
of a quart
gosh.
of power steering fluid.
Thank
So
hard on power
if you guys are wondering about this truck we're talking about, there's actually a video on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Where you guys can see this vehicle, all right? Where can the people find that?
MTV Whips.
Is that what the channel's called?
No, but
What's the channel called?
it's an MTV program, and they can search it on
Hold on, I'll find it.
Channel 25 on syndication.
Yeah, there's a whole video of this truck that Cornbread drives around.
You know MTV Cribs?
Yeah.
They made an MTV Whips, and Corn got on it. It's a startup show.
All right, this is Cornbread and Chili YouTube channel called Cornbread and Chili. And this video is showing off our new whip. So, that's it.
And you can also see.
You're going to get a copyright strike.
You guys can go check this truck out. Just
Picking
go.
up honey hemp.
I'm talking about that. I'll bet that truck fits right in at the Try-On Walmart.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about.
When I pull up, they're like,
he's a local for sure. He ain't just passing through.
Honestly, you were talking about those moments that you look back on. I know it's only been a few days, but I have laughed at that just sitting there thinking about it.
"Oh, I had to."
More than anything
have
in the
to.
past year. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Literally the most ridiculous
Look,
video.
Corn
ever.
got out.
I gotta go watch it. I haven't got to watch it yet.
He got out to put that power steering fluid in, and somebody said, "Oh, he got that thrift store power steering fluid." I said, "They ain't sold that in 15 years."
Somebody bought you power steering fluid from a thrift store?
Yeah, so the power booster on that truck leaks, and that it uses power steering fluid to actually run your brakes.
But to be clear, the one that we used in the video was not from the thrift store. That was given to us by Peak Blue Mountain.
Yeah, so it leaks so much power steering fluid that my oldest son Buck was at the thrift store the other day, and he seen that they had some power steering fluid there on sale, and he was like, "I got you 2 quarts of power steering fluid."
Again, this is not the one we used in the video. That was given to us.
So yeah.
I gotta see that. And another thing, you can also on that same channel you can watch Cornbread eating a Bojangles biscuit, right?
Yeah. There's a couple other videos on there
Man
too.
Fights Biscuit.
Yeah,
It's big, man.
it's real big.
It's about to blow up.
Oh, it's about to blow up for sure.
But y'all don't send no money for real. Please don't.
Yeah, send that big
Yeah,
money.
send money to Cornbread, guys.
Can
Please
it haul
do.
firewood?
Yeah, it can. And hog water.
Look, there's something I've been wanting to play on this podcast for a while,
I hope it's Jesse Duplantis.
and I'm going to play it.
Jesus hadn't come is because people
Hold it up to that
what
mic.
God told him to give. You see what I'm saying? I mean, when you understand it, you can speed up the time. I was on television. He said, "I heard you was a millionaire." I said, "That's not right. That's not true." He said, "Yes, it is." I said, "No, it's not. Multi. Now add that to it, and you'll be all right." Oh, he couldn't handle that. He liked to have had a fit. And I said, "You mess with me, I'll buy this station and I'll fire you." Yeah. Oh, he didn't like that, did he? That was a little fleshy, but it felt good.
It felt good.
Just a little flesh.
Yeah.
And I really believe this. If people would call this number and put this victory all over the world on every available voice, every available outlet, the Father, he would say, "Jesus, go get him." Yeah. Because you see, he wants to see us as much as we want to see him. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And so what has hindered all these things is because people are not doing in the financial realm, because we live in an economic world, what God's called them to do. You know?
Been wanting to share that.
There you go.
What's crazy is how many people actually have responded to that and gave
Yeah.
money to those ministries. It's wild, man.
He said he believed if everybody would give, God would tell Jesus, go get
Go
him.
get him.
Go get him.
He wants to see us as much as we want to see him. He
Yeah.
just can't. He can't come because we live in an economic world
And we ain't giving.
and we ain't giving
Ain't
enough.
doing what we're supposed to financially.
That's exactly right.
Felt a little fleshly, but it felt good.
I know it was a little fleshy, but it felt good.
Jesse.
Well, we've all been there before, but all right. Well, outstanding. Well, I'm about to shut this unit down.
Dang.
We got to go do some filming today.
What
need-
the
We ain't
crow?
gonna do no news.
No
bub?
news, no super chats, nothing.
Oh, we got super chats.
Yeah.
We're skipping the news today.
No,
We got
real
to
quick
tell 'em.
news. Donald Trump, he's been floating the idea of a third term. Do you support it?
Really?
Do you support it?
I didn't even. Is this serious?
Dead serious. Do you support it? That's all I wanted to know. That's all the news we got.
No.
That's Corn's got
of
local
course,
now.
I do not support that.
All right.
No.
He's teasing it.
That's wild,
he's
man.
He's teasing it.
Would that require a constitutional amendment?
Well, they've also talked about how what would stop him from just saying, I'm still the president. They literally have talked about that over and over again repeatedly.
Now, what's he
Lawmakers.
proposing?
Third term.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, yes, technically it would require a constitutional amendment, but you could also angle it from the sense of a loophole, because the 22nd Amendment says no. What does it say?
Is it no president can run more than 3 times?
Can serve 2 terms, but there's a way to loophole it with legal language and make it, well, if they're non-consecutive, then you can. Anyway.
No. So I actually redact my statement of unsupport for that.
Well, good. You still have
I
time.
say I redact that. Yes, I fully support Donald Trump for
Warlord.
actually infinite term. Thy kingdom come, son.
Bill?
Anyway, yeah, I mean,
Let's go ahead and move this thing on toward the end. Let's go ahead and get this show moving toward the end.
Honestly,
When you got someone as good as him, man, why would you try to elect?
Honestly, I don't take it serious. It's just he's joking to get everybody mad. But then there's people that come out of the woodwork and go, well, really, he could. So it's just kind
That's how these things happen. That's
Yeah.
how everything happens.
So it's-
Everything just happens by somebody jokingly just throwing it out there.
So it's
Well, they're
interesting.
serious, and they're throwing it out there to see the response on it. I knew this guy one time, and
That's what he's doing.
He was like, I'm going to go get married this weekend. And he acted like he was just joking around. And we all knew, it's our buddy. We all knew he about to go get married. And he's throwing it out there just to see and Joker show back up next week. He was married.
Yep.
So people do that.
Yeah.
That's how everything comes about.
You got local news?
Here in local weather, the South faces its 10th polar vortex of this winter season. It's about to be bad, cold, record-breaking 10th polar vortex. Wow. The polar ice caps are moving around. This is getting awful. Y'all bundle up, turn your heat on, get you some propane.
You know
Pollen
what?
levels are at an all-time high.
That's
They are.
outstanding news. I actually have a new wool garment arriving at my home today.
Two, right?
Outstanding
Multi,
news.
or is it not coming yet?
Oh, the other
other
one's
one.
not coming. I only have one new wool garment
Okay.
arriving at my home today, so I will be able to be ready for this vortex.
Multi-wool.
Wow.
I got to hit the head real quick.
We had Allison Dodd come in at $10.
I remember her.
We installed a reverse osmosis filtration
Allison.
system under our kitchen sink. Unlimited clean water, worth every penny, and it is affordable. Haven't bought H2O in 6 years. CB,
agree.
don't drink that water.
You got to get some reverse
I
osmosis.
wonder though
water.
if that removes the like the chemicals in it, and not just
Reverse osmosis is supposed to even remove most of the fluoride and all of the I believe.
because boiling it does not. That just
Right.
kills bacteria. Like,
Right.
you boil water and you think it's
Reverse
clean.
osmosis is a wild, yeah, but it's supposed to.
Okay.
I don't know how much it does, but
We got some sort of filter under our sink, and it's got a spout up there, but I've always been scared to drink it. I need to see what kind of
yeah.
filtration they got going.
Thank you, Allison.
Allison.
We got Jill Crumpton, $4.99. I listened to Resurrected with my hubs. Thank you for taking a stand, praying the power of Jabez over you all. Won't God do it? Yes, he will.
Thank you, Jill. Did y'all know Israel has the red heifer? Israel has the red heifer.
Good. They've secured it.
Yep.
The one.
Yep.
Thank you.
Dang, how about that?
Yeah, that's deep.
We got Subsoil. He come back in. Y'all remember him?
Yeah.
99 cents. Sent that emoji of that cherry pie.
Oh.
I ain't-
He liked that cherry pie.
There you you go.
What did little Virgil put today?
Oh, it's gonna be that one thing I was talking about the
Yeah.
other day.
Deplorable Lawn Guy, 1999.
DLG, thank you.
This one here's for the OG tech guy, a.k.a. Mr. Bishop Blake. You are my hero.
There you
$20 in my pocket.
Dang, son.
Thank you, Deplorable Lawn
go. Buy
Guy.
you a new truck seat, bub.
Hey, that's for me, bub. You ain't never been no tech guy. Little Virgil, 99 cents. He's got that new emoji you was talking about. Got them 3 trees on it.
Yeah, the 3 trees. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, there's something about you just said it now.
Oh, hey, I just got a text from a good friend of mine who has a relationship with Go Ruck. And you have one of their packs, right,
I do,
CB?
yeah.
So they're planning on sending us out some stuff.
Oh, that'd be
Care package. Which reminded me, we have a ruck training plan designed by Chili and Cornbread for sale on the website. And I've heard a lot of our ROP, Rite of Passage students, are actually purchasing and following the ruck training plan
Put that
to
to
prepare
the test
for the ROP
this summer,
course.
bub.
So we're going to see if that ruck training plan increases our finishing rate. I'm still looking for a ROP team. We've only had one that didn't have any quitters. I'm looking for another team with no quitters this summer. Hopefully it happens.
Yeah.
Now that you guys have a training plan to follow. But if you like to get out and ruck and move and you're not so much on the whole running crap, which I don't blame you. Running's bad for you. Go check out that ruck training plan.
So
Don't buy our running plan.
so Go Ruck wants us to ruck more, huh?
Well, I think this is like their foot in the door to try to purchase this plan that y'all have created.
Yeah, they're probably going to try to buy it from you guys.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, we'll sell it to them.
Well, if y'all get that ruck plan and you come and you quit the rock, I'm personally gonna beat the brakes off of you.
Dang, son.
That bomb.
Getting rough.
We had James Wright come in at $1.99.
Remember him? Pipe dream.
Cheapskate. I wish y'all would hurry up so we can go squirrel hunting.
Hey, I'm going to tell you what. Dad is eat up with squirrel hunting. We went hunting yesterday morning down at Dry Creek. Really great spot to hunt. Nice and flat in there.
I bet it is.
But his dog looked pretty nice. And
JR?
JR looked pretty nice, yeah. And Dad got some video. I'm talking about he's got it. He's got a hunting vest. That joker, he is about it now.
Oh, yeah.
Now look, if you're depending on him to spot and shoot the squirrel, it's a little bit tough. I needed some more shooters yesterday. Blake, I needed you yesterday morning. Because I'd shake a vine, Dad would say, I see the squirrel. And then he would say, dang, I lost him, almost immediately. And then he would see the squirrel and he would shoot. Now, granted, they were in big old tall trees, and I don't think that 20 gauge is enough to reach the tops of them big old tall trees.
Choke's too loose.
Yeah, it just wasn't enough. But there was one time, the time JR treed, I shook a vine. There was a squirrel in the tree. Dad shoots, misses. We lose the squirrel. We're looking for him again. There's another tree about 75 yards behind us. And right after Dad shot, lost sight of the squirrel, he turned around to move, and he saw another squirrel in a tree 75 yards away, and he said, that squirrel's moved. He's crossed out. I said, Dad, no, that's a different squirrel. That squirrel could not have moved across 5 trees in a millisecond without us seeing it.
Bub, he went in that orbital. He went in that dang orbital, and bam, there he went.
Well, I'll tell you, the only other thing you can't depend on Dad to do is show up all the time because his truck's always breaking down.
Well, that's a good point.
He got a
it
new
did
Ford.
good yesterday. It did good. He hunted out of it all morning yesterday.
We had TJ McLaughlin come in at $9.99. Great show, boys.
Thank you, TJ.
Thank you, TJ.
Ryan Russ, $9.99. No message.
Thank you, Russ.
Garrick, $19.99. He says, this is for cornbread because we're old.
We are old, Garrick.
There we go.
So that's for his
Cornbread
health. That's not for the
Okay.
truck. That's
Well,
for
that's
his
true.
health.
That's $20 that Corn's owed for.
Man, Garrick's old.
Got you cash. You need to
Yeah,
give
I'll
that
give
to
him. Garrick, I'll give him that cash when it's over here. I don't have my wallet on me.
Brady W. Gray come in at $20. Started to defat myself last year. and have lost over 100 pounds.
Good night.
And run my first 5K this Saturday. My wife and I have started a group at our church to help others. Thank y'all for extra motivation y'all provide. God bless.
Dude, losing
fat.
100 pounds. Can you imagine losing 100 pounds?
That's big.
That's big right
Carry
there.
Hunter on your back all day and then
That
just
takes
drop
some
him.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good on you, man.
We had Ultra Lawyer coming at $19.99 for.
Dan.
Yeah.
This is for corn seat cover. Love you guys, Dan Rothate.
There you go. Thank you,
Hey.
Dan.
Corn $40. You got to give corn after
Oh
that.
my gosh,
Y'all
man.
don't do that. Stop it.
I told y'all to send this money to the P.O. box. Now this is coming out of my pocket.
In 2024, this is Chickadee. $4.99. In 2024, a 59-year-old grandmother got the woman's world record for most push-ups in
my
an
goodness.
hour.
This is that
With
same.
1,575. She's also got the plank world record.
No. It's false information.
Did you fact check that?
I don't
shit?
need to fact check it. That ain't true.
All right. Chickadee, quit coming on here and lying. Giving your money and lying to everybody. The crap's wrong with you, man.
Need to break off you.
All right. That concludes our super chats.
All right. Outstanding. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. Blake and Blake and Cornbread and Chili will be with y'all next week, bringing the heat, son.
We're going to be here bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on Monday morning.
I don't know if I'll be there Monday. I might be.
You got to go
Snowed in.
grocery shopping, don't you?
It might be snowed in, chill.
And we're going to be a hair late on Wednesday.
Yeah, just a hair.
Really?
Oh, yeah. We got some traveling to do, bub.
Y'all traveling Wednesday?
We'll be traveling back.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna be hammered down on the way back. Hammered
Me and Corn
down.
got a work trip.
That's not going to make up for the fact that I got to be here early on Monday.
We got a work trip, bub.
All right, guys. We love y'all. See you soon, Lord willing. Enough said.